Good morning, Houston. I'm KHOU11 meteorologist Kim Castro. We've got a breakdown of all things winter storm this weekend. Big headlines for you to keep in mind. We are going to be looking at freezing rain Saturday night into Sunday. So during the overnight hours, that's when temperatures fall below freezing, meets up with the moisture and creates a glaze on the road. That's when you do not want to be out on the road. I'll show you exactly the time frame of that and when it's okay to get back out there. 36 hours, maybe a little bit more, that we are tracking the possibility of below freezing temperatures. So that is a prolonged stretch. We are under a hard freeze as we head into Monday morning because that's when temperatures are going to drop into the teens for a lot of spots. And then wait till I show you the wind chill value because there's going to be some wind associated with that cold as well. Here's a live look at the nationwide temperature map. The cold air, it's already in place. It's just sinking south at this point. So you'll notice for Minnesota, that's where we've got some of the coldest temperatures. So northern part of the state, almost 30 below zero. Minneapolis, 16 below zero. North Dakota, Bismarck, 18 below zero. So lots of spots in the negatives. -5 for Omaha, Nebraska. Chicago, -10. These are not feels like temperatures. These are actual air temperatures. And even in the Lone Star State, those temperatures already starting to fall below freezing at least. Below 32, we're at 24 for Amarillo. Dallas is hanging on to the 40s, 48, and we are at 61. Now, by the time we get the blast of the coldest air, we are going to see a significant drop in temperatures. Monday morning, 6 a.m., the actual air temperature, 18 degrees. The feeling on your skin when you couple that with the wind, because there's a wind chill value here, 5. It's going to feel like it's 5 degrees stepping outside Monday morning, which is why hopefully you don't have to step outside. I know that we're going to be tracking cancellations of school and potentially your employer contacting you to cancel work as well. The weekend ice is a story not just here locally, but it's a crippling ice storm across the country. So for us, we're looking at trace amounts of accumulation. I'll tell you the implications of that, but definitely higher concerns, more implications as you get closer towards central Texas. Oh man, here we go. I'm just gonna delete both of those things. Gone. Okay, from Austin to Dallas. 1/4 of an inch of ice to 1/2 an inch, maybe a little bit more. You'll notice that 1/2 inch to an inch potential is going to be slashing through a portion of Louisiana into Mississippi, potentially reaching the Dakotas. So this is going to be an ice storm that causes major disruptions to travel and major widespread outages across the nation. Now for us, we're looking at a winter storm watch. So that means get ready for these implications. Light to moderate icing is possible. The time frame, Saturday night into early Sunday. By the late afternoon, we're going to see temperatures climbing a little bit, but the moisture is completely gone. So by the late portion of Sunday, whatever's on the ground should start to slowly evaporate and not be a concern anymore. Power outages are still possible for us, but they're going to be on a more isolated basis. Don't think about the grid failing. We're not looking at that scenario here, but we are looking at the potential of a few spots getting a little more ice than others that could knock out some individual power lines instead of widespread outages. So let me walk you through the timeline of the precipitation. Today, as you're making your last minute preps, carry an umbrella with you. We're looking at some light spotty showers across southeast Texas. Then comes the heavy rain by Saturday morning. So that's a snapshot at 7 a.m. We're looking at heavy rain all across Houston and the greater Houston area. You'll notice just to our north, so just north of Bryan College Station, temperatures have already dropped below freezing, below 32 degrees, and that's where you start to see that pink showing up. So that is freezing rain, rain that literally freezes on contact. Now we're looking at Saturday night. Temperatures are still above freezing for Bush, still above freezing for Hobby, for Katy, for most of us. Notice though, Conroe now getting close to that 32. It's at 33. Huntsville's already below freezing. So is College Station. So is Brenham. So is a good portion of Austin County. So Washington and northern Austin County in that pink freezing rain territory already by Saturday night. Now let's take you into the overnight hours. You know what? I am actually going to stop that just a little bit earlier so I can show you. That's going to be our biggest concern window right around 3 o'clock in the morning. So this particular model has bush below freezing, has hobby right on the cusp. It's possible that these temperatures drop even more than this model is suggesting. So this heavy rain, we'll have to watch really carefully, because if those temperatures do trickle down below that freezing point, that would be ice that starts to accumulate, which is much more difficult and much more hazardous than just say a cold rain. Sunday morning, still seeing some pockets of freezing rain, some ice accumulation potential. But then as we go into Sunday afternoon and evening, you'll notice no more moisture here, and clouds are starting to slowly break apart. Monday morning, that is when we are going to get bitterly cold. And we'll get back to those temperatures here in a second. So how much ice does it take to cause disruptions? Well, 1/4 of an inch of ice is an issue. It can certainly lead to some power outages locally. It is dangerous for travel. I mean, even the lightest coating of ice, think 1/10 of an inch or 1/100th of an inch, it's a problem. Slipping and sliding on the roads, that is going to be an issue no matter what accumulation we get. But of course, the more ice that stacks up on top of itself, say 1/4 to 3/4, creates not only impossible travel, it creates tree damage at this point, and major power outages. Widespread outages. Those are also expected, not here locally, but I showed you that nationwide ice map. There are certain bullseyes across the nation that are going to experience catastrophic, widespread outages. So just to put this into context, I know 1/4 of an inch of ice doesn't seem like a lot, but why is there a localized individual neighborhood threat for an outage even here in Houston? Well, because if you start thinking about, say, that 1/4 of an inch of ice spread out through a power line, say that power line's 1,000 feet, well then now you're talking about weight that amounts to 500 pounds. 500 pounds on top of that line could certainly bring it down. So that's why we'll have to just be really, really careful watching those accumulation totals and just making sure that we make the preparations that we need ahead of time. Travel, that's something that I've been getting lots of questions on. When can I travel? Where can I travel? You know, what does my individual situation look like? Well, this is going to be a nationwide issue. So I say if you had any flights today, you're fine. If you had flights tomorrow, you might still be okay, at least for the first part of the day. As we head into later Saturday, that's when that ice accumulation starts stacking up and continues to spread towards the northeast. Sunday, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that you're not going anywhere. I think it doesn't matter where your flight was scheduled. Say you were planning to fly from California to Colorado or even the west side. It doesn't matter, because if we have planes that have a ground stop unable to fly, that is going to have trickle down effects across the country. So just keep that in mind. If you are able to push that flight that you had on Sunday to Monday or Tuesday, that is just going to save you time and a headache. So here's why ice is such an issue when it comes to flights. It's much better to have a winter storm with snow than say a winter storm with ice, because it's doesn't matter how much preparation you make. Yes, you can put de-icing on the runway, you can put de-icing on the plane, that sort of thing. However, in real time, it causes a ton of delays. Planes cannot take off when there is even the lightest coating of ice. So yes, crews work to remove the ice, but in the time that it takes, you know, passengers to get on board, the flight crew to get ready, if there's new ice on the plane, they have to stop and remove that ice. Same thing for the runway. Crews are constantly doing a friction test to make sure there's enough grip. If there's slipping going on, the plane's not going anywhere. Jet bridges, walkways, all areas that have to be constantly manned for ice concerns. And of course, power is another big one, yes. They have generators, they're preparing, but if one of those goes out, then again, that creates a trickle-down effect. Ice potential for us. So I said most of the area is looking at a trace amount, maybe 1/10 of an inch. Is it possible that some of these ice totals slide a little further south? Is it possible that our northern cities and counties get that 1/4 of an inch and do see the neighborhood power outage issues? It is possible. So just keep that in mind. That's why I keep hammering home today is a good day to just plan on you losing power just in case. So have the blankets, have that generator. If you have a friend or a family member that has a generator, contact them. Maybe you spend the weekend with them and just have the basic supplies. It's never a bad idea to have a little extra pantry food or a little extra water, especially because I don't want you on the roads on Sunday. Weather impact alert for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So yes, Saturday, it's going to be a mess. It's mainly a cold rain. If you forget something at the store on Saturday and you have to run out, it's not a big deal. Saturday night though, I want you in place because at night is when we start to see those temperatures fall. We start to see the freezing rain threat. That lingers into Sunday morning. I don't want you driving at all on Sunday, even in the afternoon, because it's very likely that the temperatures don't get above freezing. Right now we're forecasting a high of 34, but I might knock this down to 32. And with the cloud cover in place, maybe temperatures don't get above 32. So anything that's on the ground would stay frozen. That's why it's, even though the precipitation has stopped and you might think, it's okay to get out there, it's not. It's pretty sticky. They call it black ice for a reason. You really can't see it. So that's not something that you want to be caught up in. On Monday, still under a weather impact alert, and it is because of the hard freeze. So at this point, ice is not a concern. We've got sunshine out there. It's going to be nice in that regard, but it's going to be really cold, dangerously cold temperatures. 18 with a wind chill, a feeling of 5 degrees. Beyond the morning, sunshine takes us up to 40. That's nice. And then we start rebounding. So our Tuesday, still a cold start in the 20s, but highs are in the 50s. Then by Wednesday, we're back up into the 60s. We're going to have the whole crew here this weekend. So we're going to be monitoring this winter storm very closely. If you have any questions, reach out to us on social media. We are, of course, going to be giving you updates on television as well. So we've got our noon newscast coming up. I'll be the one giving you the update then. We've got our newscast at 4. Chris Ramirez will give you your update then. And then our chief meteorologist, David Paul, is here at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. And then all the Mets are going to be here Saturday and Sunday. So walking you through any changes and any hazards that we see pop up. All right, have a great day and make sure to prepare today.